Chapter 10, Marriage. I still can't believe to this day she said yes. um, Her parents had come down from New Hampshire to for the wedding. They were supposed to be on their way to go move in or to go live near their oldest daughter in Georgia. So they were going to stop by on the way for the wedding. They ended up staying, thank God. I ended up getting to know my mother and father-in-law. I just want to take this time to say that I truly miss them. I had a special connection with both. When they stayed with us. I let her mom, my mother-in-law, stay in our bed, and I would make her sandwiches and bring her stuff in bed. She was awesome. I could talk to her about literally anything. I know that my wife really misses her parents. I helped her through the change by being there, but I cannot completely understand what she's going through. I still have my parents. Her dad and I butted heads about me being stay-at-home father because he's old-fashioned, but he and I had each other's backs on everything else. So they came down. We had a party together before the wedding, or a little get-together at the house before the wedding. We had the wedding. It was beautiful. It was just at the town hall, Justice of the Peace. I was so nervous marrying her that I put the ring on the wrong finger, but she was so adorable. She nudged her ring finger in my way. My son was still little when we got married. He met his Uncle Josh for the first time, and he just didn't want him out of his sight. Like, he wasn't really a clingy child, especially to new people, but for some reason, he just read Josh's aura or his personality, and he clung to him. It was awesome. He spent the whole wedding sitting in front of him, trying to, like, playing with him the whole time. Our marriage license, the first one, said that, they screwed up a couple times. They said I was the bride, and then it gave me, I think it gave us both a Rocha last name, but then we have the right one now. Then we had a reception / my mother's birthday, because my mother's birthday is the same, is the day after our wedding. I wanted to hold off until Halloween, but that's a little too cliche, so we decided not to. So it was just a little short reception at a fire hall, but it was perfect. It was Halloween themed. No, we did not say our own vows, but it's just, I can picture standing in front of her. And I just gotta let everybody know that I had pink hair at the wedding. I don't know how this woman did it. She married a man with pink hair. My father did tell her that she didn't have to. Standing in front of her, looking deep into her eyes, becoming husband and wife. It was so surreal. I still am getting a little choked up thinking about it. It was a very emotional day. I do not and will not ever get married again. I have a strong belief about love and soulmate, and she is mine. Now, I know that we all heard the chapter on Tasha, but the way I look at it is this. God put Tasha in my life for the building block, the foundation to my home. He gave me Chelsea to build that home. And a marriage is kind of like a home. After a while, it needs repairs. It always needs to be touched up. You put all the nice things in your home. You put all these nice things in your marriage, your children, your significant other. Sometimes the roof needs to be fixed. Sometimes, things need to be renovated. You want changes. That works for a marriage too, because sometimes you need changes. Being with somebody for so long, you can get in the habit of just doing the same old thing every day. And being a human being, sometimes that is a little stale. So you need to spice it up, change it, renovate, add on. And doing this, some of the places that we've lived have been in Meadowbrook. We lived in 2 apartments in Meadowbrook, and we lived in a townhouse, and then we had to budget down to another house, a smaller apartment. We finally got out of Meadowbrook, had our own trailer. Things didn't go well with the trailer. So we moved under my sister-in-law and my best friend Chris. Mind you, this whole time, not having like a fancy house, living by our means, we were happy as hell. That apartment underneath my sister-in-law and Chris, we had a downstairs that had a washer and dryer. It was a cute apartment. We liked it very much. The bathroom was big. The kitchen was decent size. However, the landlord was a scum. He claimed to be a Christian, but when he would pick up the rent for my sister-in-law, he'd stare down her shirt. And then we had the ceiling from the dining room come down. Luckily, nobody was in there. It was just the drywall, not the whole thing. But I asked him to come fix it, and he refused. He was on vacation, and his maintenance man wasn't going to come fix it. So we knew at that time that it was time to move out. This leads into some interesting stuff right here. At the same time, John, her ex-husband, had been living in a house on Hamilton. It had a basement, a finished basement, that had its own bathroom and living room and a bedroom. He had his buddy living down there. His buddy left. He couldn't comfortably. He could have if he stretched it out, but he couldn't comfortably do it on his own. And we didn't want to live in a house with a creepy landlord. So that was the first time that we had talked about moving in together, and we did. A side note to that, my wife had spent the whole time, I'll tell you a little backstory about the relationship with the ex-husband. My wife had spent that whole time pleading and trying and doing her best to make us get along. She didn't think it would lead to the awesome friendship, the love that we have now, but she did it. And it's also why she can't tell me she can't do something or she's failing at something, because I know her willpower. When she really wants to do something, it gets done. Because I fought with her about it. I didn't scream and yell. I just told her that it wasn't going to work. We had a difference of opinion when me and Chelsea got together. He thought I was taking his spot. I didn't want to overstep my spot. So we were at this thing when we weren't talking to each other because in society, in the way that old fashioned people are, is you don't, my parents still have this thing, don't be friends with your ex. You can't do it. After all this experience, that is a pile of crap. You can, as long as you don't let your feelings get involved and you are strictly just friends. Most people can't do that because they can't get over the jealousy or I've been hurt, so I'm going to be pissed off at you. That's why you see all these things about dad's not getting any rights. Well, it all boils down to a jealous, pissed off mother. Or the other way around. It does go the other way around, too. But if you would just come together, see, it all leads back to this key word, perspective. You need to understand how the other person was hurt. You need to understand how that other person felt. So we had a rocky start. She had told him, like an adult, that she was pregnant. He had flipped and yelled at her. She was upset. She was crying. She had picked up the children. My sister was in the car, found out, and of course my sister told me when I got home. But the thing that really upset both of us was the hypocrisy about it. It had been maybe not even a month before. This is going to sound weird, but he could have gotten my cousin pregnant. It was either between him or some guy at Blockbuster. And the thing is that we didn't get mad. But he sure did. He showed up to the house to drop the kids off. I told him that he wasn't to yell at her anymore in front of the children. Because the children, he proceeded to tell me that she was still his wife. I proceeded to tell him that she's carrying my child. It ended up with us taking it outside. I'm going to tell the absolute truth. And through all this, Jay has believed me, and he has been non-biased through all this. This is why he's one of the best friends that I have. We had went outside. He had punched me in the mouth. I still have a scar in the inside of my lip. Because when he hit me, it dragged across my tooth. My stupid canine. And I play with it when I get, little side note, I play with it when I get nervous or bored. So anyways, he had hit me. I had put him into a headlock. I had, was spitting up blood from my mouth. And I stood there with him in the headlock until he said he had no problem. From then, he proceeded to go to Chelsea's work and lose his temper. They had to tell him to leave. Now, I'm telling you all this not to paint him in the bad picture. I'm giving this backstory. I am an honest person. I will never lie. I do not cut corners, and I do not exaggerate stories. I'll tell it the exact way it went. And the point is to show the progression of our relationship to what it is now. That means saying everything. So that was a rocky start. I didn't think it was going to work. Fast forward to us moving in. We still had a bit of a rocky start. There was only one other thing that happened. He was spoiling our oldest Johnny because that's the way that both of us were raised. Johnny was he was going to be the football star. He still is. Wearing big blue today because he has a scrimmage. But I had cooked dinner. I know, I'm going to sound like a bitter wife right now. I had cooked dinner. He had taken Johnny to go get his friends. They went out. his friend. They went out to eat. They brought back Burger King, and it had hurt our daughter because all that week she was trying to get his attention, and then he brought back food but didn't bring it back for everybody. So I had said something. I said that I was very upset that he wasn't paying as much attention to our daughter that he should have been, and that I was very upset that I had cooked all day, or cooked, and they weren't gonna eat it. They didn't call to tell me that they gotten food, and they brought it back and ate it in front of us. I took a walk. My wife picked me up, and he had apologized and told me I was right. I opened up his eyes. It's all about learning experiences. We had lived together and realized that I wasn't overstepping, and he realized that I wasn't trying to take his spot. So we are a co-unit now. Nothing gets done with the children without all three of us knowing it. The children know they have to ask all three of us for permission. All three of us must know what's going on at all times. And I think that is an advantage for my children. They have two working parents, which in this day and age, if you want to get by with children and have a little extra, parents need to be working. But that left one of us at home to take care of the day-to-day, to make sure that the kids knew that, how the system works and how money works, and going over their homework with them and seeing that somebody was there. I read an article recently that said that, hey, a big chunk of kids who go to daycare end up being in trouble at some point. And when I read it, it made sense to me, because you're dropping your kids off at daycare. The children don't understand work, money, or responsibilities, or living expenses. They just don't. Most parents don't teach their kids. They don't teach your kids that, because most parents don't. Most grown people don't understand that at this point. They are just living to live. I understand all this, and I understand that the sooner our children understand, the better off they are going into the world. So our relationship has blossomed. We are best friends now. We still live together. It only makes sense financially at this point. At some point, we will go our separate ways, because he right now doesn't want to settle down, but he will eventually. And most people outside of this, I'd say, I've been surprised about how many people congratulate us and say they can't do it, and how many people say they understand. It's the understanding part that I'm a little shocked about. I thought it was a phenomenon, but then again, things change. This is not what it was when I was in high school. So we have this great working relationship. I learned for the first time a little while ago that there's a thing called a throuple. My wife was asked if we're a throuple, and she was like, "Did you just make that up?" I was like, "Did you just make that up?" When she told me. Apparently not. Apparently it is three people in a committed relationship. There are all sorts of terms that are out now that I didn't know existed. Learn something new every day. But no, we are not a throuple. We are a husband and wife living with a roommate, if you want to look at that, who is just as much as part of the kids' life as we are, because they're the kids' dad. Like today, all of us are going to my oldest son's scrimmage, and we all root for him. There was a great post that Jay posted about a year ago that shows it shows parents together, and it says stepmom, father, mother, stepfather. Thing about the word stepfather, I don't like it. It is painted in a horrible light. The word step. So my children call me Daddy James. Ari just calls me Daddy. I'm Daddy, and John is Daddy Daddy. We let her come up with that. I didn't force. We never force children to do something they do not want to. They only do things that they are comfortable doing. Oh. And I learned that in Sweden, it is not step, it is bonus. So on my laundry bag, it says bonus dad. We've had a happy marriage. It has its rocky parts. I will get to those in a later chapter. Thank you for listening to chapter 10. Tune in tomorrow, and I'll have another great, exciting chapter. Till then, much love. JD out.